for about 7 months there, and the neighborhood I live in, there's a store I used to walk by, every day, and it was empty, empty, empty. And then all of a sudden, there was a for rent sign in the front of it, and I'm like, that'd be an awesome place to have our next shop. Sorry about that.
Welcome to United States Fingerboarding League Fingerboard Podcast. I'm your host, Levine Cunningham, and I'm excited to be chatting with Vito of 6Skates.
What's up, Levine? How you doing?
Doing good, doing good.
Awesome.
For as much history as we got, I feel like we should be talking a lot more.
Yeah, definitely. But anytime you want to talk, give me a call, and we can talk for sure. Yeah, I was super excited when you reached out about the podcast, and it's going to be a great one. Yeah.
Yeah, we're super excited. I know, Toronto, especially, Canada as a whole, we don't get a lot of intel down here, down south, I guess you would say, for you guys. And so I'm excited to dive into like what's just going on in the Canadian scene, what's going on specifically in Toronto. And, we've got a lot of history. And so we'll kind of get into that a little bit later. But,
Yeah.
First off, let's hear a little bit about you and your fingerboarding background.
Yeah, for sure. So I know I look like a young man, but I'm pretty old. I'm going to be 50 this year. So fingerboarding has been part of my life on and off since the 80s. So I'm a skater boy from the 80s, the Powell era, the Alvas, those big names. And I'm sure you remember when the fingerboarding came out originally. There was those little keychains, the
Yep.
finger skate keychains. So that's where I started. Um, Not so much doing tricks and stuff, more of a collectible type of thing. And in the late 80s, my sister came home with a McDonald's Happy Meal, Kermit the Frog Muppet Babies. I don't know if you heard of that one, but
Of
it
course.
came with a little red skateboard. And so I took it from her and put some grip tape on it. And it was just, an extra little thing to do with your hands when you couldn't get out in the rainy weather.
So your history is pretty similar to me as well. I started in 96. I started before Tech Deck came out. And so I
Okay.
do remember the keychains. I never actually got a hold of one, but I did get like a Mountain Dew promo board.
Hmm.
And I didn't even know that you could actually do tricks on these things when I got these. And so we're like ground zero for fingerboarding. And so
Yeah, for sure, for sure. It was even tough to find them. Like sometimes the skate shops didn't carry them. There was a couple of big skate shops in Toronto. One was Hogtown. Another one is Ream Cycle, I think. That's where I got my first skateboard. And it was hit or miss to find them there. But when you got lucky, you picked up one or two, and yeah, you were the envy of
I
everybody.
remember those. I remember like I found my first one at the Dollar General, and I didn't see another board until the McDonald's promos, like little
Yeah,
board keychain boards came out. And
yeah.
then from there it was Tech Deck. I don't know if McDonald's came out first or Tech Deck, but like it was like almost a full year gap where like I couldn't even find another fingerboard.
Oh man, yeah. So after I wasn't really into it around the McDonald's, you kind of fell out of it until the early 2000s. My wife and I opened a little toy store in Toronto here, and we actually carried tech decks and flick tricks and stuff like that. So we were popular with all the nieces and nephews. So that's when it touched my life again back then, and it was a great something great. The kids loved it, and amazed my nephews with the no complies and little flick tricks, and they're like, "Oh, how'd you do that? How'd you do that?" So it was a good connection with the younger kids.
Of course. So kind of explain to me how fingerboarding has kind of been adopted in Canada as a whole. Like here in the United States, we have, Mike Snyder been doing things out of his garage 20 years ago and it's kind of built
Mhm.
up to Rendezvous. And then you've got, Nash was sorry for fingerboarding on the West Coast. And there's a few other key players that have kind of like grew fingerboarding in the United States. But like Canada, like what's like, how's the scene developed out there?
So in terms of the history in the Canadian scene, there's a couple of pioneers. One is Sid. Vicious 274 is his YouTube handle and Instagram handle, and he's been doing videos for want to say at least 10 years. He's actually sponsored by Berlin Woods. So he's friends with Mike too. And he's been to like the Rendezvous. I think he's emceed a couple of Rendezvous. If you look at some of the early videos, you'll see him there. Matt from Joy Cult was big in the scene a few years ago. He had his events going on in Burlington. I'm not sure if he did any in Toronto, but yeah, it's grown quite a bit since we'll say even 2018, 2017. The scene has grown huge here. Not to say that there's more fingerboarders, but now we're all kind of like talking to each other and getting together, and it's more of a community, I think.
That's okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So I've seen maybe a few things over the past probably 3 or 4 years. There was like maybe one like event I think I saw in Montreal, and I want to say maybe one thing in like Vancouver. Do you
So
know any?
yes, so the you have to excuse me, my friends in Montreal. There is a scene in Montreal. There's Finger Ben. He's got a yearly event that he does there. I don't know how many years back it goes, but it's got to be at least 3 years. And there's also I believe his name is Philippe from Camel Pro Fingerboards,
Hmm.
and they're really driving the scene in Montreal and Quebec area. So it's vibrant in like all across the country, and it just keeps growing. The more events that people have, the more competitions online, uh, Instagram posts. You see it bigger year by year and day by day. In terms of the West Coast, I'm not aware of any like big events. I think there's a shop in Vancouver, I want to say, that has like a fingerboard little park or section. And other than that, I'm not sure. We might take it on the road and do a Canadian fingerboard league. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
That'd be pretty cool. That'd be pretty
Yeah.
cool. You do know, I heard that Matt with Joy Cold somehow Dynamics, Scott with Dynamics took that over.
Yeah, that's super awesome there. It was great to see Scott take that over. I know it would be a shame to have all those great designs and his formulas and everything go to waste. So I'm happy that happened.
Yeah, when I heard that, I was like, man, that's wild. I'm like, if anybody can turn that company around, Scott would definitely
Yeah,
be like
yeah,
one of the top guys I would dominate to take over the company and drive it forward in the right direction. And so pretty
yeah,
stoked
yeah.
on
No.
that. I should
I,
actually reach out to him, try to get him on the podcast, to be honest with
try,
you.
yeah, you should, you should. Yeah, as you know, it's tough running any company, fingerboard company, any type of company. So the experience he has, I'm sure, will lend itself to a great product and great customer service for sure.
Most definitely. So you are definitely the man in Toronto. I mean,
You're
you've
making me
got,
blush.
I know, I mean, you got one of the, you've done something I haven't really been able to do, which you've got a store. You've got a storefront there in Toronto. And I mean, tell me about it.
Yeah, the people in this city, the fingerboarders are amazing. The support has been huge. It's so we opened originally in kind of like a sketchy diving mall in our Chinatown area, and we were open last year. I want to say for about 7 months there, and the neighborhood I live in, there's a store I used to walk by, every day, and it was empty, empty, empty. And then all of a sudden, there was a for rent sign in the front of it, and I'm like, that'd be an awesome place to have our next shop. Sorry about that. That'd be an awesome place to have our next shop. It's like steps from the house. There's like so much traffic walking by and driving by, and I called the landlord, and he's an awesome dude, and it's just everything worked out. So we opened here on Danforth Avenue, 1936 Danforth Avenue, at the beginning of the year. It coincided perfectly for the delivery of our G13 park. So yeah, it's great.
Super
It's
stoked that
been
you
it's
have one
been
of
awesome.
those.
Yeah, it's like a dream come true. A dream I didn't know I wanted until I saw it, and and then that's all I could think about, and we made it happen. It's not easy getting one of these parks overseas and into North America. So
I try to tell a lot of people that, not trying to like detour people from buying a Black River Park, but it's one of those things like if you have the ability to get one, it's like the money for the park is literally half the struggle. And then there's like a whole set of logistics on the backside that people don't realize.
Yeah,
And
there's,
so when you get one, it's like Christmas.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was awesome. It's there's so much back end stuff there. You need like a import tax number. You need to get a freight forwarder. You need to get someone to do your customs clearing and all this exciting stuff that doesn't make very good podcast talk. But it's not easy just to. It's not like you can go online and press add to cart and it'll be in your living room 2 weeks later.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
tell people
it's
that
an
it's not
ordeal.
like Amazon. You just, it's not like you can just prime it and it's here.
No, definitely not. Even when I'm doing product orders or from Black River, it's an ordeal getting these boxes through customs, and the postal service won't deliver them because they're too heavy. So it's a whole thing. But it's fun. It's
Speaking of
fun.
boxes, I
Yeah.
mean, you probably have done like 3 or 4 massive, like just Black River unboxings. I think you might have more Black River like items for sale in your shop than like almost all of American combined. Like your boxes are huge.
We because it's so difficult to get all this stuff, I do big orders every couple of months, and the support is awesome in the community here and online. So I'm already planning my next order. I'll have it into the fine people at Black River probably this week. So, and we just got our last shipment like 2 weeks ago. So it's I'm definitely learning how to time these things so I have no lag between you know product deliveries or what people want, because there's nothing worse than someone who's making the trip to the shop and they come and I sold the last pocket mini, or I sold the last picnic table or bench or whatever, right?
That
So
was one of
I'm
the
trying.
things I had issues with at my shop was just the inventory control. And so it's really hard as a shop owner to be able to tell like what people want and how much of it to properly stock.
Yeah.
And our biggest problems as, as an ex shop owner and as a current shop owner, it's like everything in the industry is handmade from scratch. And so a
Hmm.
lot of people don't realize it's not like, I can get on Amazon and be like, oh, I need 30 of these boards. And so when you're dealing with, individual companies that make a lot of stuff from scratch, 30 boards could take 2 or 3 weeks.
Hmm.
And so depending on who you're, messing with and, contacting stuff like that. And so there's this like art in fingerboarding retail that a lot of people don't even know. It's just like knowing the speed of what like, people can get things in. Black River, you've got like a week or two, even on expedited shipping. So a lot of stuff overseas comes a little bit slower. Then you got some stuff in the States that come a little bit faster, but production time, and it's absolutely, it's like playing Tetris. I feel like whenever I'm placing orders, and like, do I wait to do it now or do I wait another week? Or like
Yeah.
it's art.
Yeah, it is definitely like playing Tetris. I had our board is clean now, but in the shop I have a coming soon board
Mm.
where I keep what's new, what's on the way, what's and how long when I expect it to come and stuff like that. So yeah, it's definitely like playing Tetris, but it's like Christmas morning too when the packages come. I'm fighting my son to open these things. So usually he's home before me, so I get the pictures through text of what's come in. Yeah. So and that's the great part about doing this in the fingerboard community, is that most of these decks come from small makers who
Mhm.
like they're passionate about what they do. And so you're not going to harass Keanu and his dad to hurry up and make those story decks, because I got people asking, even though I do sometimes, but still.
No, I understand. It's
Yeah.
always been a struggle to kind of make sure that everything is fully stocked and stuff like that. And so
Yeah.
I kudos, my hats off to you for just making that work, because that's a hard thing to do, especially when you're dealing with, multiple companies. Like what other companies, I obviously Black River is one of them. Like what else companies do you have
All
like in your
right.
shop?
So I thought you'd ask me. I made a list because
Ah.
I don't want to miss anybody. All right. So I'm going to start off with some of the older companies that are first that we carried. So the first board company we ever had was Board Kennel. He's a maker from Canada, from the West Coast. So he does an amazing job in paper graphics. That's That's his bread and butter, and he does a lot of custom work. But we have a few, maybe like 10 graphics that really work in our shop, and he just keeps pumping them out for me. Pyro Wheels, my boy Dave, he's in Toronto. I don't know if you've heard of Pyro Wheels, but he's
Mhm.
a up and comer in the wheel game. And we kind of started out around the same time. So a lot of the things we do together, like the boards by the beach and different events and competitions and stuff like that. So we do a lot of collaboration in Toronto, the Toronto scene. There's Caramel Fingerboards from Spain. We got our friends in Ukraine, DK Decks. They're still working hard, even through all the things they're going through there. FBS, we carry their tape. Blue Decks. Did you want me to keep going, or we
Oh
get the
yeah,
general
no,
idea? All right,
I like
Blue
it.
Decks. He's another maker from Canada, from Ontario area. Camel Pro, my friend in Montreal. I mentioned Sorry Decks. I have a shipment that has just cleared customs, so I should have those tonight or tomorrow. Well, we have Moods Decks as well. So he's a maker I met at Rendezvous last year. I just saw his decks, and the finish and the style was amazing, so I had to have them in the shop. So he's been pretty popular with the locals and online as well. Of course, Scott and Dynamic with his trucks and wheels and boards, we carry them. We have Maples, another wheel brand from Canada. Red Wolf decks and Wysocki wheels, we have their stuff. Solka is a European deck maker. Suave, our friends from the Philippines,
Okay.
they do some awesome decks. Slush Cult from California, we got some of their shirts and stuff and decks. Doom Lagoon, I've been waiting for those decks. Hopefully, they'll be here in a couple of weeks. Truck Loops, so he's another local
Mhm.
new brand. He does bushings, and now he started, sorry, he does O-rings, and now he started making his own decks. So we carry some of the O-rings and Yellowwood, some of the OGs from Portugal. So that's just a sampling. If I missed somebody, I'm sorry, but that's a sampling of some of the products we have in stock at
That's a
any time.
massive list. That list is impressive.
It is,
So,
yeah, I enjoy that.
I mean, for all of my Canadian peeps, if you guys are not ordering your fingerboarding gear from my guy right here, Vito, you guys are missing out. So if you guys are looking for a wide selection of stuff there in Canada, not paying, the US shipping and all that, I know it gets expensive. Vito, that's definitely your guy. So 6Skates, tell
Thank
them
you.
where you can find all your stuff. Where's your site?
6skates.com. That's it. 6skates.com.
6skates.com.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. And we got everything there.
That's
Or you
crazy.
can come and visit us in person and check it out. We have a lot of what we carry in sample form too. So, if there's a set of wheels you want to try, we probably have it in one of our many personal setups that you can take for a spin in the park.
So we are actually taping this episode in the future. So for me and
Yep.
you right now, today is the 17th, but we've got rendezvous this weekend.
Yep.
Are you going?
Yeah, yeah, we're going on a little cruise coming from Toronto. So my son, myself, our buddy Robert, another friend Liam is coming, and then we got a buddy coming from Montreal, Matt. And so we're gonna kind of like hook up and go there together. But then there's some more. There's a contingent from Montreal going too. I know a guy from Camel Pro is going, and I don't know who he's bringing along with him. But usually, you go with a couple of buddies to these things. So there's going to be a
Okay.
strong Canadian contingency.
That's awesome. I will also be there. This episode will
Awesome.
actually come out a few days after, but we will definitely follow up on the rendezvous event. This is
Yeah.
pretty big. I know that, we got people flying in from all over the place. We've got, I think, like 6 or 7 people that are like different countries that are going to be
Yeah,
there.
yeah. I hear
And
Kath is going to
so,
be there from
yeah,
FBS, and I saw the guys from Flint are
Flint's going
coming
to be
down
there.
to. Yeah, yeah.
That's
He's got
exciting.
some special drop he's doing. I'm going to try to track him down, but it'll probably be gone before he even gets to the rendezvous. Who knows?
It's going to be packed. It's going to be awesome. I'm
Yeah, yeah.
excited.
It's going to be sick for sure. Looking for a new product, so hopefully we'll find a couple of new up and coming makers.
And then the 29th of April, I will be visiting you as well.
Awesome.
So we're going to hop over the border, make sure all our paperwork is good to go for this summer, and we're
That's
going to
good.
give 6Skates a visit. So I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, for sure. We're happy to have you. You're coming on a Saturday, so Saturday's our busiest day. we'll do some promotion, have you out. Maybe you can judge a game of skate or two and give
Yeah,
the people here a taste of your judging style so they can do some practicing.
definitely. I might even bust out the game skate table and bring it up.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I'll clear
Yeah,
a spot here. Yeah.
man, that's exciting. All right, I'm stoked. I got a
What part of
good
the
two
city are you
weeks.
staying in?
I honestly don't know. I can tell you like the hotel name and the address, but I mean, for me, the entire Canada, like entire country Canada is just like the unknown for me. So I
It's
could tell
huge.
you the location, but I wouldn't even know.
For me, it's the unknown too because it's so big. It's a huge country, and all most of the population is close to the 49th parallel to the U.S., right? So the further north you get, the more sparse the population is. So
Which
even
is
as
interesting you
a
say
kid,
that.
yeah, even as a Canadian, like I'm sad to say, but I haven't traveled out to the West Coast. It's on the bucket list, definitely in the next couple of years. But yeah, it's a big country.
Definitely. I found it interesting that I want to say it's like I was at the Detroit, like I hosted the Detroit stop
Hmm.
last year. I oh man, this guy's gonna kill me if I say his name wrong. It's either Steve Haynes or maybe it's Stephen Pruitt. It's one of those Steve guys, but he's
Hmm.
from Canada and he went to
Okay.
the Detroit stop. And he's all like, "Yeah, dude, I'm from Canada." And I'm like, "Oh, that's awesome." And he's like, "Well, how far away are you?" And he's like, "An hour and a half." And I was like, wait, like being in America, like an hour and a half, your house is an hour and a half from
Uh,
here. And it just dawned on me like how close, like, the border was. And I was like, man,
yeah.
that'd be crazy to host an event up there. And then you came
It,
down and visited me a few months later, visit the shop and stuff. And you were talking about it. He's like, yeah, it's only like a 7.5, 8 hour drive. And I'm like, that's doable, like really doable.
it's so close. Yeah. So we're close to Niagara Falls, New York. It's like an hour and a half away. So a lot of Canadians in this area do day trips and vice versa. So yeah. So Toronto is I think is one of the this geographic area is one of the fourth most populous or fifth most populous uh area in North America. So there's millions upon millions of people in this in the Golden Horseshoe they call it, the Toronto area here.
Well, I'm excited. I'm excited to visit. Definitely gonna pick up a lot of cool swag, maybe some flags. Who knows?
Yeah, you're gonna have a good time.
For sure.
Anything you want to do, you can do it here. If you like to eat ethnic foods or whatever you're looking for, you're gonna find it here in Toronto for sure.
That's awesome. I'm excited. I think you mentioned boards by the beach.
Yeah, Boards by the Beach 3. So that's our annual event. It's August 26th. Last year was our second year event, and believe it or not, we had about 75 attendees to that event. So it's growing every year. Unfortunately, I had COVID during that event, I think the day before I got it. So my family and my son, they came in clutch, and my son Dominic, he just ran the show, the contests and giveaways and everything. Yeah. So we want to thank you also for sponsoring last year's event, and I'm gonna hit you up live on air right now for a sponsorship for this year's event as well. Levine, if you could do that, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
You
I would love to be a part of that.
Yeah, so we have it. We rent a little covered pavilion area right by Woodbine Beach. So it's literally, I want to say 50 yards from the beach of Lake Ontario. So it's a rain
Hmm.
or shine event because it's covered, but we like to be out in the sun. We bring all the parks down. We have some locals here that bring their parks down, and we have some vendors unofficially because you can't really set up vending by the beach there, but everybody has a great time. So
That's I'm definitely I
you got
know
to
I've
make
been
it
up.
for that one.
Yeah, I know. I'm just thinking like that. I'm gonna have to pencil that in for sure.
Yeah, and I'm working on something big too for this event. It's going to be extra special. We might have a surprise visit by a sponsored European brand rider. So I'll just leave it at that.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
Got some
we
developmenting
got something up the sleeve.
yeah, definitely. Man, so we have some tour history together for
Hmm.
sure. I know you've been a vendor on the 2022 tour.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
want to say you were even a sponsor in the 2021 season as
I,
well.
if I recall correctly, yeah, I think I sent some decks for one of your events. But yeah, we were the one of the vendors at the Vegas event you had there. Again, I couldn't make it last minute. Something came up, but my sister and my daughter Victoria there, they held the fort down. They said it was awesome time, and thanks for the hospitality and taking care of them.
Yeah,
They
of
were there.
course. Thanks for
Yeah,
the support. Thanks for sponsoring us for three seasons.
no problem.
This season, 2023, I mean, we kicked it up a notch this season for
Yep, you
sure.
did. Yeah, you did.
And so we've got
International.
international. So we've got a collaboration event on June 8th. So if you guys aren't familiar with the United States Fingerboarding League summer tour, we literally pack
July.
up. It is July,
Yeah.
July 8th. All right. Yeah.
You
Don't
want to
come to
start over?
Yeah, nah, it's fine. We'll roll with
That's
it.
cool.
July
All right, we'll
8th.
go.
I got so many dates behind me.
It's right behind your
I
shoulder too.
know, I know. I
Well,
have
I
so
thought I
many
was gonna
dates.
make it. I thought I was gonna make the mistake, but that's all right.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's July 8th. We've got a
That's right.
collaboration event. And so this is a huge thanks to you.
Thanks to
You know,
you.
I mean, you did help with a lot of logistical stuff, and I don't know if I would have been able to honestly kind of get it all together. I think maybe I could, but you made everything so much easier for me to be able to basically host this massive event with you. And so putting Toronto on the map for the United States Fingerboarding League Tour, this is a huge honor and definitely a stepping stone, possibly to hosting even more and different events in the
Mhm.
country Canada. So
Yeah, for
this is
sure. Yeah. I'm trying to express to people the magnitude of the ramps and the enormity of what they're going to see there that day, but I still think they're going to be shocked when they come in and see all your ramps and the setups, and just the vibe is going to be amazing. And I know you guys are going to be shocked at the scene here in Toronto and how many people are going to come to this event, and some of the talent in the city is amazing in the surrounding area. We even have people like flying in from other provinces to come and check
that's
out that.
awesome.
Yeah, so
I mean, as far as ticket sales go, I mean, it is Chicago, Toronto, and of course Drake Hut,
mhm.
with Flatface. I mean, you guys are leading the way as far as pre-sold tickets. We're actually all sold out of vendor booths for
Oh,
Toronto.
that's sweet. Yeah.
So we're like 6 vendors deep. I'll grab the list. So we've
And
got
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
no, I was we've got you 6Skates. You guys a vendor. We've got Truck Loops, which you mentioned them earlier.
Hmm.
We've got FB Canada.
Hmm.
We've
They
got
make some awesome
Basic.
wheels. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I heard. So I'm excited to be able to check those out in person and stuff like that as well. We've got Basic FB Co. and Chip Off the Block fingerboards. And of course, yours truly, United States Fingerboarding League. And so
Yeah,
we've got
yeah.
a really stacked vendor booth lineup for sure. So if you guys are looking for new products, new gear, the best parks in the world, literally, I mean, this is definitely the spot to be, July
Yeah,
8th.
definitely. Definitely. You might have to expand that too, because there's a couple of big names that I didn't hear you say that might want to get in on that. So we'll see. We'll see what happens in terms of vendor booths.
I mean, we might be able to squeeze one more in there.
You might, yeah.
I mean, you guys were ready. You guys were like, he's coming. We got to be there. And so,
Yeah.
yeah. So Toronto vendor booths basically are sold out. If you guys are wanting a vendor booth, definitely message me on IG. I might be able to make that happen.
I put you on the
Atlanta,
spot, Louis.
yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. We'll make it happen. I'm always trying to be accommodating and whatnot. And so I'm
All right.
excited for this event. It's looking like a banger for sure. And so, yeah, Toronto's vendor booths are sold out. Atlanta also, those vendor booths are sold out.
Oh,
So if you
nice.
guys are wanting to become a vendor at one of these events, you guys got to get those vendor booths in like ASAP.
Yeah, it's going to be a super cool event. Now, if anybody is looking for information on the city of Toronto or what to do around here, just shoot me an email or a DM on Instagram. I'm sure we'll have it in the show notes, and I can hook you up with an itinerary on what you can do in the days leading to or after the event. We're going to be open at the shop during the week, so Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So be sure to drop in and say hello, and then the main event on Saturday, right?
Yeah, Saturday. So
When are
Vito's
you
going to be your
guys? When
travel
are you going to
guide.
roll up?
We will roll up the day before.
Okay,
So
cool.
we'll roll up the day before. We'll stay the night. We'll produce the most killer Canadian event ever.
That's
And
awesome.
then depending on what the boys are doing, we'll probably go back immediately the next day.
Okay. Sounds good. So where do you have your ramps now? Are they like in a, not that I want to come scope out your place, but are they yeah, tell me exactly where your ramps are located right now of mine.
Oh
And when are you
man.
leaving on your vacation?
No, we've got all our stuff in a climate controlled storage. I've
Okay,
got a
cool.
concrete park in the garage, and I've got a couple smaller wooden plazas in the house,
Nice.
which
Yeah, because
the wife is constantly tripping over. So those she's excited for those to go back into the trailer and on tour.
yeah, I hear you. Yeah, it's these things are big and they take up a lot of space. Even I've only got a couple, but it's a challenge to find the space for them and then to find the proper space because you don't want the thing to fall and break and
That's
then what?
a big thing as well. I mean, these parks, like you guys are on metric, but we're standard. I don't know the conversion rate for it, but I mean, they're literally 4 feet wide, 8 feet,
Mhm.
8 inches long on the full parks, and so they're large.
Mm.
I was asking my wife, I'm like, we don't really need a dining room table, do we?
Yeah, you gotta get some kind of plywood cover for the top of it, and then it's your table.
It's so big, and it's you don't want to move
Yeah,
it. Like it's like once it's there, like it's gonna be like a permanent fixture to the house.
yeah, I hear you.
Oh man. All right. So we have prizes for each one of the stops. So
Hmm.
we have custom boards for each of the top three winners in each category. So we have
Nice.
three competition categories. We have best run street, best trick street, and of course, game of skate, which we call battle of applies.
Hmm.
So first, second, and third place winners will also get our notorious, most famous medals. These versions of the medals this year, like top notch. Like they're like
Okay.
I kind of want one, and I'm like, man, I gotta win me one of these. But
Yeah,
they're nice.
make yourself an honorary a fourth place one.
I may have to. These things are sick.
Yeah.
And so we also have custom one of one decks for each one of the cities. And
Hmm.
so if you're not in a collaborating event, which would be 6Skates Toronto, Mike Snyder with Dre Cut, Benny with Good Vibes, and STB Bush with Cleveland, they will have their own custom one-on-one deck that is specific to each one of the place winners. So if
Okay.
you're first, second, or third in like Game of Skate, you're going to get a custom one-on-one 6 skate deck. If you're best run street, place first, second, or third, you're going to get a custom 101 6 skate deck.
Yep.
And so this is pretty cool stuff. You will
Yeah.
also get a custom 101 United States Fingerboarding League deck as well.
Ooh,
I know. And so if you
nice.
happen to be at like the Dre Cut event, you'll get a United States Fingerboarding League 101. And then, Mike with Flatface, he's going to be banging out some custom 101 G15s.
Oh, nice.
STB Bush is doing, I want to say, a collaboration with, I just went blank. Lakewood
Yep.
decks. And so you're going to get a custom 101 Lakewood deck at the Cleveland stop. You'll get a Good Vibes custom 101 deck at the Dallas stop. And of course, 6 Gates throwing down for
I better get
Toronto as
pressing.
well.
I better get pressing.
I know. I mean, you only got like two months. It seems like not a
Yeah,
long time, but it creeps up fast.
it does creep up, man. It creeps up. Yeah. Mm.
Chicago for us, that's our first stop, and that's May
28th. I'm looking
28th.
at it right there. Yeah, 28th.
So yeah, I think we're 34, 35 days out, just over a month. And
It's
so
gonna
it's
go like that.
yeah, once we get in the tour stage, like we're every weekend, we're on the road. So we are like we're in it. Like as soon as we hit Chicago, like we're knee deep in the tour.
Hmm. That's crazy.
I know it's so much work, but so much fun. It's like a fingerboarding summer camp for me,
It's
basically.
a yeah, I can't imagine the like we do that one event a year and it takes me forever to organize and bring the ramps and get the food and organize all this stuff. I can't imagine doing all the events you're doing all across the country, but you got a
That's what a
system
lot
in
of people
place
say.
and
Yeah,
yeah,
we've got a system definitely in place. A lot of people are like, yeah, it takes me 4 months to host this one event. And I'm like, yeah,
yeah.
we're back to back to back to back. Like we slay a city and then we literally conquer the next one. And so 9 cities later, you look back, you're like, oh my goodness, we did it. So super excited.
Hmm.
Cannot wait for the summer tour to start. You can get all your tickets at United States Fingerboarding League. It's usafbl.com. So you can get them on the site. Also, we've got literally social medias for days. So TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, all that stuff. So definitely reach out for us. Definitely reach out for Vito at 6Skates. I know I'm forgetting something, Vito.
Um,
You got any shout outs? Anybody we're forgetting?
yeah. So actually, I didn't talk about when we started the reboot of 6 Skates in 2017. Maybe we can talk about that.
Yeah. I
So I
didn't
kind of we
realize you
kind of
guys
went
even go
into
that far
history.
back.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll talk about that, and then I don't know where you want to put it, but maybe you can figure it out.
Okay.
Uh, so in like 2017, we started 6 Skates, or I started 6 Skates, and the main focus was making full size decks and doing like completes and making stuff out of recycled skateboards like rings and keychains and stuff like that. So we did that for a couple years, and I kind of learned all the ins and outs of like the e-commerce store and social media. Like still I don't know the ins and outs of social media, but as much as someone can, I guess, right? And we had a yard sale one day in front of the house, and I sold a couple of skateboards, and one of the kids who bought the skateboard came back with a custom made fingerboard that he made. He pressed between two tech decks. His name was Dragon, and he's still a supporter here. He still comes to the shop, and ever since then, it's just been like fingerboard. That's it. I said, "This is so cool. How did you make it?" And like the next day, I was on eBay. I bought like a one of those 3D printed molds and started making decks. Must have made like 40 before I got one good one with the holes lined up, the truck holes lined up. And yeah, that was it. We just started making fingerboards. My son was like super into it, and it's just something that we do together now. It turned into the shop and events, and it, the scene and the vibe is so awesome. And I've never handed somebody an order that they bought online and not see their face like light up and smile, right? And so it's just something like that that clicked with us, and I knew that's something we had to do together with me and my son and the whole family. So
No, that's awesome.
yeah.
We just started pressing boards about 3 weeks ago. I
Oh,
actually started off as a board maker originally before
yeah.
United States Fingerboarding League kind of like just transformed to what we are right now. And so we started off as curved fingerboards,
Okay.
and I started pressing boards, made my own custom mold. The learning curve on it was pretty steep, and
Hmm.
I realized that I really just wanted to fingerboard and hang out with my friends, and
Yeah.
so I went the event route. And so hosting
Yeah.
events, fingerboarding, and just hanging out with people, that's definitely my jam. And so now we've kind of recircled back into making boards and stuff. And so we've
Hmm.
been pressing boards for the last like 3 weeks, trying to get through the learning curve. My boards are comparison to like the best board ever. I'm like 80% right now. So I feel like probably the
Yeah.
next like 2 weeks of just pressing boards, practicing them, getting all the countersinks, getting all the different color plies and all that stuff, and finding the
Yeah.
variations that I like. I'm like, I think they're perfect to probably ship out now, but I'm one of those
Hmm.
like,
Well,
I've seen the best, and I'm like, I gotta get somewhere close to it.
bring a stack when you come on the 29th, and we'll be the judge on how
All
good they
right,
are.
let's do
But
that. Let's do
yeah.
that. Let's do that.
Yeah. It's definitely it's get into 80, 80, 90% is I'm not going to say it's easy, it's hard, but that last 10% is
Mhm.
it might take you years, right?
I know. We
Yeah.
just got a laser engraver and stuff, so we're looking at
Cool.
doing some laser engraved like top plies and stuff like that. And so,
That's
like I said,
fun.
I think they're good enough to ship out now, but I'm a perfectionist. Like I know, like if I can do better, I'm gonna do better, and so that's where
Yeah.
I'm at, which could be a good thing or a bad thing, I guess. But definitely look
For,
out for some USA FBL fingerboards here in the next few weeks. We're gonna
yeah,
probably
that's
do a
awesome.
drop
That's awesome. Yeah.
handcrafted by yours truly.
For me it was the truck holes, getting them once after I got those, and the rest was easy. And the only way to get those was to get well, for me anyways, was to get a machined aluminum mold with the guide pins,
Hmm.
trying to do it with a 3D printed mold and drilling through the pilot holes and all that stuff. It was just a nightmare for me, but
I feel that. I feel that for
yeah,
sure. Oh man. All right. Well, I think we're coming to a close.
awesome.
Anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, I want to shout out to my family, my son Dominic, who I am on this journey with, my daughter Victoria, who fills in the shop when we're not here, like this for Rendezvous weekend, and my wife Tara for indulging all my craziness.
Man, that is awesome to hear.
Yeah.
All right, Vito. Well, where can people find you one last time?
So they can check us out at 6skates.com. I'm on Instagram at 6skates. My son is at 6skates Domo, DOMO. TikTok at 6skates, and probably a few other things, but those are the main ones.
All
Or
right.
at 1936 Danforth Avenue in Toronto.
Of course, the only shop in Toronto.
Yep.
All right, Vito. Thank you for coming on the show. It has been an absolute pleasure.
Thanks. Thanks so much for the time, Levine, and best of luck with all your tour dates. And we're so excited to have you here on July 8th
July 8th and April 29th. So if you guys
and
want
April
to,
29th.
catch me at the shop in the afternoon, I'll be there.
Yeah, for sure. There's going to be a good welcoming committee for you here on the 29th.
For sure. Till next time, guys.
Yeah. Later.